Sourdough cinnamon rolls, let's go. All right guys, this recipe is fairly easy and they are so delicious, so let's get to it. The first things first is you can mix up the dough with your hands, but this recipe is way easier with a stand mixer, so we're gonna use a stand mixer today. Just wanna make sure your stand mixer has a dough attachment. So put either a regular bowl or your stand mixer bowl on a digital scale. Make sure your scale is zeroed out, and then we're gonna add 125 grams of active bubbly starter. And then make sure your scale is zeroed out, and then we're gonna add 130 grams of milk. And then take a bread whisk or a regular whisk and give it a good mix. And then you'll add 1.5 sticks of melted butter. You don't want it to be hot, so just make sure it's cooled down if you heat it up in the microwave. You're gonna go in with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then add 2 eggs. Then take your whisk and give her a good mix. Okay, so once that's good and mixed, you wanna add 500 grams of flour. And then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. Go ahead and take your bowl off the scale now. So for the stand mixer, you wanna mix it for about 8 to 10 minutes on low to medium speed. And then once your dough is good and mixed in the bowl, you'll wanna knead it in the bowl or on the counter for about 6 to 8 minutes. And it's quite the workout, which is why I say it's easier with the stand mixer. Okay, so now that our dough is good and mixed, you wanna transfer it all to a clean bowl. Okay, so this is what your dough will look like. Now we're gonna let our dough rest on the counter at room temperature for 2 hours. You can cover it with a shower cap or a damp kitchen towel. And then after your dough is rested on the counter for 2 hours, you're gonna stick it in the fridge overnight for about 8 to 12 hours. And then in the morning, we'll come back, roll out our beautiful cinnamon rolls, and bake them. Okay guys, I'm back. Okay, so unfortunately my video cut off. You wanna use a rolling pin for this next part. Dump your dough out on a lightly floured surface. Make sure you sprinkle your ball of dough with flour on top, and make sure you flour your rolling pin really well. You're gonna roll out your dough into a long rectangle. You want it to be about 20 inches by 10 inches with a long 20-inch side facing you. This part doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to bust out a measuring tape or anything. You can kind of eyeball it. This recipe makes about 12 cinnamon rolls. You want each roll to be about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches when we go to cut them. Okay, so for the filling, I have 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 1.5 cups of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of flour, and then we're gonna add in 3 tablespoons of melted butter. You don't want it to be hot, so just make sure you cool it. So we're just adding our 3 tablespoons of melted butter. Just take a fork and get it good and mixed. You just wanna put it all on there and spread it out. You wanna try to get it all as close to the edge as you can without going over. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. I just try to get it to be a nice even layer. Our cinnamon rolls are gonna go into 2 greased 9-inch rounds. If you don't have those, you can also put them into any baking dish you have that will fit them. You can do this one of 2 ways. You can either use a pizza cutter and cut them individually and roll them up, or you can roll up this whole thing into a tight log and then cut your individual rolls. I think I'm gonna use the pizza cutter today. So again, this recipe makes about 12 cinnamon rolls. I'm just going to eyeball it. All right, we cut them into 12 strips. Now you just wanna roll them up. Just be careful so the filling doesn't come out, okay? And that's what they'll look like when they're rolled up. I usually just try to press down the inseam so that it sticks. All right, so we are done. This is what it'll look like. Make sure they have space in the pan to grow. You want to let these proof in a warm area for about 2 to 3 hours. You need them to warm up and grow a bit. They'll be nice and puffy and you'll know they're ready to bake. Or what I like to do to speed up the process is put these into the oven with the light on. That'll get them nice and warmed up and they'll get puffy quicker. Also, make sure you do cover the top. I cover mine with a shower cap. All right, I'll be back in a couple hours. Hey guys, it's been 2.5 hours. These have been proofing in the oven with the light on. As you can see, they're nice and puffy. They're not as puffy as I would like, but I have to go pick up my kids from school, so we gotta do what we have to do. These are gonna go into a preheated 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. You'll just take them out when they're nice and golden brown. And while those are baking, we'll go ahead and mix up our icing. You can use a hand mixer for this. So 6 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of milk. Just wanna give it a good mix with your hand mixer until it's all the same consistency. All right, guys, these are fresh out of the oven and look how good they look. You could smell this. They smell divine. I'm gonna go ahead and take one of these out and open it up so you can see it. We are adding frosting on top. Oh my goodness, guys. Look at this cinnamon roll. Okay, guys, I'm just going for it. Look at the bottom. Oh! Wow. Look at this. These are to die for. Let me know in the comments if you plan on making them.